I've recently started the Artist Way and this message stuck out to me. In order to recover as an artist, you must be willing to be a bad artist. Give yourself permission to be a beginner. By being willing to be a bad artist, you have a chance to be an artist and perhaps over time a very good one. If you're familiar with the artist Doechii, then you may be familiar with this book, The Artist Way by Julia Cameron. Basically the entire reason that she went from this
I got fired today
to this.
And the winner is Alligator Bites Never Here by Doechii!
I am currently on week 2, day 2 of the Artist Way, and let me just tell you, it is a lot. In week 1, there was so many themes that we covered, but the main thing she talked about was just letting yourself be mediocre and being bad, and I feel like that is such a simple, straightforward piece of information that has never really crossed my mind. It seems like the most easy thing to do, but the second you actually let yourself do it, your brain just like immediately shuts down as like, ain't no way, I'm not embarrassing myself. Our generation, especially, I feel like girlies that range from 18 to early mid-20s, there's never a testing, trying, or a attempting period. Social media is just getting worse and worse in terms of highlight reels. Open Instagram right now and tell me what you see. It's literally like everyone has just teleported onto the apps with a certain amount of following, a certain amount of confidence. You don't see any of their journey or how they actually got into posting or started posting or their reason why. I've even seen influencers delete and archive their posts because they're almost like embarrassed of their journey. Because everything in our world is so digital and it's so fast paced, there's literally like almost no room, it seems like, to be a beginner or to be bad at something or to try something or to do something out of your comfort zone. There's not many examples on the internet or in life that I've seen where people are actually being open with their experience about like being bad. In documentaries and like movies, it's the same, where very few people who have documentaries about them will actually show like the quiet moments, the longer journeys, how some people took 10 plus years to get to where they are today. But I don't know why it's like a shameful thing to show that you're trying something. It's invalidating to be like a beginner. And regardless if people show it or not, everyone, even though it doesn't feel like it, has been a beginner at something, whether they show it publicly or not. People don't just spawn in. Maybe they do. Maybe they're an overnight success. Maybe they've had virality, but not all of us have that. For me in my journey, I started YouTube in November 2023, and I've had moments where I was like so blocked in social media because I thought like, if no one's watching it, then what's the point? Girl, the point is I love to make YouTube videos. Validation gets in the way of art. For me, as a true person who wants to create and put myself out there, I feel like it's really hard to see people who don't really actually care to do that, but it's kind of just a hobby, bypass me. I've learned, how can you be good at something if you won't even let yourself be bad? Regardless of what you're starting, I know you have that thing in your head that you're thinking about and you're like, oh, I'm too nervous, like I'm too scared, or you're like pushing it down away from yourself and suppressing it because you're nervous as hell, and I don't blame you. There are so many things that I want to do that when I first heard that, I was like, I'm just like, there was an excuse immediately, and that's how you know that's the direction you should be going in. When you set such high expectations for yourself in order to like try a new thing, whether it's like posting that Instagram post, and maybe you don't want to be an influencer but you just want to like post and share to your friends, even that can be daunting when you're in a literal pool of like people with millions of followers or girlies with a really cute feed or whatever it is. It's so daunting when you see people who have just like kind of like spawned in and you're like, where did you come from? Because you don't know their journey. It makes you feel small. The second you jump in, you're like, I look like I'm trying, so I'm obviously going to stand out, but that's good. The people you look up to, the people you're following, the people you know in real life that you want to learn from, you want to be like, they have all had a beginning phase, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's honestly just proof that you know that it's going to work now, because if someone else has done it, then why can't you? By letting yourself being bad, you're not setting yourself any crazy expectations that are just going to lead to burnout. I'm a type A girly, and I feel like I'm very hard on myself. I've always had such high expectations, and when those expectations don't get met, I feel like I've set myself up for disappointment, and I feel an impending doom and a mental breakdown coming on. I've practiced letting myself be bad at things, and yes, that might not seem like a substantial goal or a real goal, but it is a goal to me because I am a perfectionist, and when things don't go my way, it actually causes more stress to me than if I said, I'm just going to let this podcast episode be what it is. As long as I give it my 100% attention, effort, and presence, we're good. Being bad at something is an attainable goal because that could look like so many things, as well as being good at something could look like so many things. It's all a subjective. So if you're like, I'm going to set this goal to be bad at something and I'm going to learn and get 1% better as I go, you're lowering the stakes and you're just having fun. And I actually heard this from somewhere. My brain is like a sponge, I swear. Mel Robbins, her podcast, she was saying something about how when you lower the stakes of what you're doing and like maybe you do stuff up and maybe you go bigger and do something out of your comfort zone, but something goes wrong. Like maybe you attend like a heels dance class for the first time and you fall in front of everyone. Laugh. It's funny. If you're having fun, it makes everyone around you want to have fun, and it lowers the stakes of the stress, because how can you be stressed if you're laughing and having fun? Lower the stakes for yourself, and that's what being bad as a goal is doing. It's giving you the opportunity to actually be good eventually, but you can't have that without accepting that not being perfect at something is okay. And you know what's crazy too is that you could have a real natural talent at something, and because you're so scared to like take that first step or even that little tiny minuscule baby step, you could be an absolute natural at something and not even know it yet because you haven't tried. Or you could try and think that you're setting the bar and being bad at something, and then all of a sudden maybe people do notice it and maybe your art is good, or whatever you're doing actually turns out way better than you expected and you realize it was all in your head. Yes, it's uncomfortable at first, but you could literally surprise yourself and come out a whole new person. Low-key, week 2 of the Artist Ways made me really mad because I'm a girly with big dreams. When it comes to actually sitting down and taking the uncomfortable steps that maybe I don't really want to do, or I feel scared to do, or it's out of my comfort zone, I avoid them at all costs. And it's like, girl, think about how many things that you thought were out of reach or uncomfortable or too much for you that you've just said, I can't do this, and you quit before you even took the first step. Think about all the possibilities that could have come out letting yourself being bad. It's low-key a double-edged sword though, because it releases all the expectations and the pressures of like trying to be perfect and trying to prove yourself. Instead of looking at it as like Mount Everest, you're looking at it as like getting to the trail. On the other side of that, it's also, and I'm not discrediting it, it's extremely scary and brave and uncomfortable to be like, I'm going to let myself do it and I'm just going to let myself be bad, and people may not like what I have to say or what I'm doing or how I create art or how I choose to present myself now, but at least I'm taking the steps to get to where I could potentially be really good at this thing that I'm trying. There's really no way to overcome either of the uncomfortability of either sides of that coin. Another thing I've learned recently is just doing things bigger. Even if it scares you, even if you're not sure what you're even agreeing to, just say yes. Just say yes and figure it out as you go. Uncomfortability is where you want to be. If you're comfortable in all areas of your life, then you're not growing. In my own experience, for example, I often feel embarrassed that maybe I expected to be a lot further in my career than where I am right now, not discrediting all the things that I have achieved. It's scary to be like putting yourself out there and maybe people don't recognize you yet, or people haven't seen you yet, or like really acknowledged your work. But I've been setting a new expectation for myself, and that's to have no expectations other than that I show up and I give every single bit of myself and my brain and my heart that I have into everything that I do as authentically and truthfully as possible. And if that's bad, let it be bad, because next week I'm going to come and sit on this couch and I'm going to be 1% better at podcasting, at editing, at communicating, at sharing things. And that is way better, in my opinion, than not moving forward at all. It's a really tough pill to swallow, but I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. You don't get your dreams by thinking about them, by watching other people have them and accomplish them, by manifesting them but not actually taking any actionable steps in your day-to-day life, by not letting yourself be bad at something. Those aren't steps. Those are dreams. I was on TikTok the other day and I saw a Substack article pop up about something about doubt or failure, or I think both. This girl was saying how she'd rather be slashed with the scars of failure than be carrying around the ghosts of self-doubt. And that really hit me hard. I think the pain of yearning for something and desiring to have something, but not being able to get past the doubt that you have in yourself and seeing other people live your dream is so much harder to deal with than being scared and being vulnerable and actually doing the thing that you're most scared and most vulnerable to put yourself out there for. And you know what? If you do fail, and you probably will fail 1,000,000 times, it feels so much worse in the moment, and then it's probably something that will make so much sense in the future, and probably maybe has a lot to do with a new path that you're being redirected onto. Did you really fail? No. When you do start to take the baby steps to let yourself be bad, which I really hope you do, and you do the scary things, does make you more vulnerable and open to when people make comments. But please be aware that people are going to call you weird, they're going to call you different, they're going to call you crazy, they're going to make fun of you probably. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They want you to step back. They don't have any means to break out of their own habits of self-doubt, and so they don't want you to do that either, because not only does it show them that there's another person that is doing something that they wish they could but they can't, and they're stuck with that self-doubt, now you are showing them that it's extremely possible because someone in their own inner circle or that they know is an example of what they're scared of. Period. Everyone on earth is talented at something, whether that be creatively, whether that be actively, whether that be academically. It doesn't matter. Everyone is good and talented at something. We all have our gifts for a reason. But my new favorite word, audacity. Not a lot of people have the audacity, and certainly not in our age group. And that's what I think it is too, is like being audacious and having the audacity to put yourself out there and actually try and be okay that you're being seen trying, and having the trying phase until you do get really good at something, and not letting people hold you back by it and being embarrassed, because no one does try anymore and is like ashamed of being seen trying. They don't want you to do that. You look more obvious because no one else is doing it, but you could literally inspire so many people to follow in your footsteps, and if they don't, then they just turn into the people that get bitter about it and want to hold you back. But don't let other people's comments make you think like you're doing the wrong thing or you're hurting people by finally taking the baby steps to let yourself be bad and grow and go for failure instead of self-doubt. And I would much rather live my life knowing that I tried everything and I did it to my 100% fullest capacity, rather than just like hiding behind it. But you're the only thing stepping in your way. The whole thing of this artist way journey, I really recommend the book, by the way, but you have to basically face your ego, that little voice in your head. I feel like manifestation culture a lot of the time and all of that is really about like making new decisions and like ignoring your old self concept and like killing your old self. You cannot kill your old self if you don't face it. It's like if you're in a fight with a brown bear or something. I'm not American, I don't know how bears work. And like instead of like actually just like doing what you're supposed to, you literally just like get all frantic and like expect it not to attack you. Even if you can't see it subconsciously, or you're ignoring it, or you're pretending it isn't there, it's withering away at you without you even realizing it. Why would you ever feel ashamed or scared or embarrassed or feel some type of way about people who are making you feel bad because you're doing something that they're scared to do? And it sounds so simple, but when it actually gets down to doing that thing, it feels like the most impossible, uncomfortable thing in the world, but you just gotta push through it anyway. But it's like a level up. Let yourself be bad. Release the idea from wherever it comes from. Journal about it, free write about it, that something has to be perfect in order to mean something. That is just not true. If you're aiming for perfect, you're never gonna get there. I love y'all, and I really appreciate you for being here. Like I said, it's not my job to be perfect and to show you that what I'm saying has meaning. If it has meaning to you, great, and if it doesn't, this video ain't for you. And that's all I really have this week. I can guarantee you, because I showed up and I let myself be bad today, that next week when I come back on this couch, this very couch, and I film a new episode, I am gonna be at least 1% better, maybe even a little more, because I stood outside my comfort zone and I showed up here authentically and truthfully. I'm not perfect. I'm not saying that I'm out here stepping out of my comfort zone, being a snake hunter all of a sudden, jumping, skydiving. Like, I'm not doing all that. Little baby steps is what I'm saying can go a really long way. So I love you. Make sure to like and subscribe if you love this episode, and I will see you next week.